Here we're looking at the difference of perfect squares. This is sometimes referred to as DOPS, difference of perfect squares, or DOTS, difference of two squares. Okay, so what we're looking at here is a general rule where we have a squared take away b squared. When we factorise it, goes into a plus b in one bracket and a minus b in the other bracket. If we were to look at this example here, we could consider it as being x squared plus 0x minus 25. And then what we would need to do is we have a look at what factors we have of minus 25 which add up to 0. So in this case here, factors of negative 25 could be 1 and 25 or negative 1 and 25, or we could have 1 and negative 25, or we could have 5 and negative 5. Now if we look at, these are all factors multiplied together, which equal negative 25, and the ones that add up to 0 is going to be that one there. So we would end up with two brackets being x plus 5 and x take away 5. That's going through the long process. But what we could do is we can identify with the question which is there how, if we look at the general rule, we've got a difference of two squares. So we could get this x squared take 25, and we could rewrite it as x squared minus 5 squared. So that way we now have our a term for the general rule and the b term for the general rule, which just means that we then write a plus 5 and sorry, not a plus 5, x plus 5 and x take away 5. That's the way that it works. So if we can write something as a difference of two squares, then we can apply the rule. Let's look at some more examples. First one here, we're going to apply the same rule. So if you remember the rule that we have, a squared minus b squared is equal to one bracket with a plus b, or the two things added together, and the other bracket where they're take away. So we're going to write this first one as x squared take away 2 squared, which will be equal to, when we just apply the rule, x minus 2 and x plus 2. And it doesn't matter if the plus bracket goes first or the plus bracket goes second. 3 times 4 is 12, 4 times 3 is 12. It doesn't matter what order they go in when they're multiplied together. Now for this next example that we have here, as it sits, we don't have a difference of two squares, but what we can do is we can factorise the 2 out, because we have 2 times x squared take away 2 times 25, and I've identified that 25 is a perfect square. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to bring the 2 out the front, which is that 2 and that 2. And then I'll open the bracket, and what's left over goes inside the bracket, x squared take away 25. Okay, so that x squared goes into there, and the 25 goes into there, and that's the minus sign that goes in between them. Now I'm going to rewrite what's inside the bracket as a difference of two squares. So we've got 2, and then it's going to be x squared minus 5 squared. And then I apply the rule that we have at the top here. So 2 bracket, and then it's going to be the first bit plus the second bit. So x plus 5 in the first bracket, and then x minus 5 in the second bracket. And that's all it is. So the x squared, we get one of them goes to there, one of them goes to there, and the 5 squared similarly there and to there. Now this only works if we have a takeaway. It's a difference of two squares. If it was a squared plus b squared, we can't apply this rule. Okay, some more. Oh, that one looks a bit ugly. I hate fractions is probably what you're saying, but they don't have to be scary. The thing to think about with this first one is that 2 squared is equal to 4. Similarly, 1/2 squared is equal to 1/4. So the 2 squared on the bottom equals the 4, the 1 squared on the top will be the 1. So I can rewrite this as m squared minus 1/2 all squared. And then again I apply the rule, so it's going to be equal to m plus 1/2 and m take away 1/2. And that's the answer. Okay. And this last example here, this is going to be equal to 25 is 5 squared. So we've got 5 squared x squared take away, and 9 is 3 squared. 3 squared m squared. And what I'm going to do is apply one of the index rules. 5 squared x squared can become 5x in a bracket all squared, take away 3m in a bracket all squared. Now we have our two terms, difference of two squares. So we'll just write them in the brackets. So here we go, 5x plus 3m and 5x minus 3m. And that's the answer. Okay, so again what we need to do is we split things up into two things squared, separated by a takeaway sign, and then for the rule we're going to have the first bit plus the second bit, and then for the other bracket it's going to be the first bit take away the second bit. That's the way the rule works. Hope you find that useful. See ya.